usually goes live before I'm ready for it to go live. So I'm assuming it's live right now. So I am here today. I am Don Costa. I'm the host of the Flip Talk podcast. I have Brian Trippe with me. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Don. I'm honored to be on your show.
I'm honored to have you. I've been excited to have you on and looking forward to talking to you. So, let's get into who you are for the audience, your background, kind of what you do, and then we'll get into the conversation. So, tell us like how you got into real estate investing and what your journey's been all about.
2012, I was a college basketball coach, Division I college basketball coach. I was driving from Birmingham, Alabama, which is where I live, to LA, which is lower Alabama, in Troy. I was making that drive, about 2 hour and 15-minute drive, and I heard an ad on the radio that said Robert Kiyosaki is coming to town. And I'm like, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I like Robert Kiyosaki. I'd like to go see him, hear him speak. So I get to the event. It was obviously not Robert Kiyosaki. It was a pitch on selling real estate, seminar type of thing. And so they got me, hook, line, and sinker, and spent about 15 to 20. I spent 20 grand on Rich Dad Education. Won't say anything bad. Won't say anything good about him. I think it was perfect for me where I was in that moment. Right. Went out 45 days later and did my very first real estate deal. And that was in September of 2012. And made $10,000 on a wholesale deal. So that's how I got into real estate. From there, bought my first property. It was a 6-unit, learned a ton, started wholesaling full-time in 2014, built probably the biggest wholesaling business in my area over that course of the time. About 2014 through into 2017 was really hardcore doing wholesale here in the greater Birmingham area. Did well over 500 deals, 500 transactions. Some of them ended up being kind of later on 2016, 17, more creative stuff, subject to lease option, things like that. So bought a lot of stuff with option contracts. And then that kind of led me down the path of education and content creation. And that's kind of where I am today. I've been doing that since 2017, started a podcast. I think right before you did. I remember when you started yours, we kind of started very similar. Wrote a book on the subject of how to start meetup groups and how to give away stuff to get everything that you want in return. So that's kind of my real estate story in a quick nutshell.
Okay, very cool. So the aspect of building a business that did the kind of volume you were doing as quickly as you did, what was that like? Like, did you kind of stumble into it? Do you feel like you had the right, people around you? Like, what did that look like? And did you love it or hate it?
Yeah, Don, that's a great question. The first part of that question, I definitely loved it in the beginning.
Right.
I think people who get into real estate and are successful in the beginning, they have to have passion for it. If they don't, I don't know how long that's going to last. But
right.
I did not know how to build a business. I didn't build a business. I was self-employed. I owned a job, just like Robert Kiyosaki talks about in the cash flow quadrant. I was the self-employed guy who owned a job. And it was me, and I had one other guy, and I had a VA. And it was us. And we were running, anywhere from on the low end, 3 to 4 deals a month, on the high end, 10 to 12 deals a month. I mean, we were really doing some for us in our market, really doing some big volume, but it was me. I was the guy going on the appointments. I had one person kind of taking calls. We built a call. Actually, the room I'm in right now used to be a call center. We built a call center. We were on the radio, on TV, billboards, did obviously tons of direct mail. We were the bandit sign people in our area. Everyone knows the red bandit signs in Birmingham, Alabama from 2014 to 2017 with the phone number 765-2222. It was we just crushed it. We had leads coming in. We had built a call center here, taking those. I did not know how to build a business. So when our office manager left, the whole thing came kind of crumbling down. And I had just bought a big multifamily complex at this time. So my attention was diverted, and the whole thing just we went 3 consecutive months without doing a deal, with about $14,000 to $18,000 a month in overhead. So that was kind of like the end of it. And then it just kind of went and just did it real small, mom and pop, and just kind of did deals here and there on my own from then on. And then started coaching and took on coaching partners to where we were doing deals together. So just kind of kept it really kind of small from that point.
And then, yeah. So, and one of the things I want to point out, because everybody wants to build the biggest business, and I've built a fairly large organization. We do a couple hundred deals a year, but I have the right people in place, and I do have those moments where I stop and think, like, if a couple of those people left around the same time, like I'd be screwed.
Mhm.
I would be. We have systems and processes and documentation, but to get the ramp somebody up, at a reasonable speed, um, I'd be in some trouble. So that's definitely something to, sometimes bigger isn't always better. Sometimes you're better off at a smaller, more manageable, I guess
Yeah.
pace, right?
Towards the end of 2015, when the office manager left, going into the first of 2016, scaled everything back, made our overhead like minuscule compared to what it was. And we were actually, for all of 2016 into 2017, we're making more net profit with me, an acquisitions manager, and a virtual assistant. Just us, those three pieces, making more net profit with that versus what we built in 2015 in all the way into 15. So definitely agree with you that one little piece can make the whole thing go down if you're not very, very careful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're doing deals now today, but your the way you do deals now is through networking and working with other people, which I've talked about for years. Networking is some of the best ways to find deals. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I discovered that in 2017 when I started my meetup group. We launched it in January of 2017, so right at 3 years ago. And I did it because, just like probably you do your podcast, I launched a
Mhm.
podcast at that time to try to get coaching students and try to build a coaching program. But what I quickly learned is that people they didn't need like a full blown coaching something. They just needed like this tweak or that tweak. So I'm like, well, let's partner and let's do this. Bring me your deals. I'll either buy them or I've got buyers that can buy them. So ended up doing a lot. I think we did 50 deals in 2017 just through partnerships, just through people bringing me their deals through our meetup group. So ever since then, I've been teaching other people, hey, you know what? Meetup groups are an incredible way for you. If you're the organizer of the meetup group, it's an incredible way to get almost an unlimited amount of deals for a very small, marketing budget, if not free. So that's kind of how it all started with the getting them for free. Not necessarily just going to meetup groups, being the actual organizer and being the authority figure, the person at the front of the room that almost commands that authority to where people want to bring you their deals.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you because I don't run a meetup group, but I speak at them as often as I can, and I have picked up a number of private lenders just by being the guy in front of
Oh
the
my
room,
gosh.
getting up there and having a conversation and sharing what we're doing, and at the end somebody comes up and hands me a card, and they want to talk about lending, and some of the best lenders I picked up through just speaking at meetup groups. So I can imagine running one would be a whole different animal.
Yeah. Because everything runs through you, right? If you're the person at the front of the room, like even just as a guest speaker, everything gets to run through you. If there is a lender in the room, they're going to come up to you and say, "Hey, who's the person doing the flipping? Who needs people to lend money?" Oh, well, by the way, that's me. I need lending. Let's have a conversation. Or the brand new wholesaler that's just getting started, and you just kind of show them a couple of things. When you embrace the brand new person and kind of help them for free, by the way, help them just kind of get started, get going. Hey, yeah, answer their questions. Hey, by the way, if you have another question, just give me a call. I'd love to be able to help you. Guess who they're going to bring their first deal to? They're going to bring it to you because you were the one that helped them along the way anyway. So did a lot of deals. I made almost 20,000 on a profit split on a wholesale deal one time that almost a brand new person came to me with that deal. So it's just very easy for me to do stuff like that as the organizer, the person at the front of the room.
Very cool. So right now your gig, what you do is you're helping people obviously grow their business, but you're also helping them set up meetup groups so in their areas or communities, so that way they can run those meetup groups, be the authority and network and build their business and that kind of thing. So tell me about that. Like
Yeah.
what excites you about that, and what is it you're doing?
Yeah. So I coach the brand new person. It's very difficult. We were talking about this offline. Like I didn't realize when I was coaching, and I come from a coaching background too,
Right.
and I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. I didn't realize that I was coaching, that real estate coaching is 90% psychologist. I didn't realize that at the time. And so I didn't really feel like I signed up for that. But when you start coaching people who they don't need you to hold their hand through their first deal. They just need, hey, you know what? I'm struggling with this issue. It's like, oh, well, here's an easy fix, or here's how to fix that. Here's that person that you need. So that's easy. And that's more fun. That's exciting. So when I'm working with people who already have killer real estate businesses, now they just want to learn how to start a meetup. I don't have to baby them through like mindset and things that I think maybe you or I might take for granted today because we've gotten to, I guess, maybe a certain place in our lives or in our careers. But we can just, hey, go do this. It's all tactics. Go do this, go do this, go do this. And they respond a lot easier. So I enjoy it more and they enjoy it more because it's super crystal clear instruction that they can follow and go do. So to tell you a little bit about it, we launched Real Estate Investing Live, REI Live. I believe that real estate investing is two things. It's local and it is live. You have to do real estate person to person. I'm sure there are people that have great virtual businesses and they do really well, but real estate is meant to be done live. You have to talk to people face to face, belly to belly, whether you're negotiating, whether you're talking to your contractor, whatever it is, it has to be on the phone like this. It's live. I'm a huge believer in meetup groups, going out to networking events. That is where all the magic happens. I highly encourage, even from the front of the room, I tell people, even though we have competitors all throughout our market and other markets that we're in, we have competitors. I say, you need to go, if you're serious about real estate, you need to go to every meeting in this city, go to everything. And just because I have a meetup group doesn't mean you can't go to another meetup group, right? So I just don't believe in competition like that. I believe in collaborating instead. So we launched REI Live in the fall, winter of 2018. And we are now in 5 markets and we're looking to rapidly expand this year, 2020. We just launched Orlando a month ago. Wildly successful event, almost 200 people in the room at their first event. They just did a workshop. I think they had, I can't remember, 65, 70 people in the room for a workshop to teach wholesaling to brand new people. And they're looking to do deal splits. Obviously, they're looking to build their own coaching program, which has been successful so far. And that's what we help people do with REI Live. So we help local real estate investors develop a coaching program that is local and is live and where they can enhance what they're already doing through their real estate business and maybe take on a coaching student or two and do deals with them in their local market. No, Don, no one can compete. Fortune builders can't compete. Rich Dad Education can't compete. None, Dean Graziosi, none of the big box guys can compete with the local investor who is helping people do deals in their local market. And we found that it's just been unbelievably successful in the markets that we're in Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, Orlando, and Sarasota, Florida. So we're looking to expand that this year.
That's cool. So what are some of the challenges that people face? Like I guess we talked about not necessarily having a mindset issue, but I'm sure there are mindset issues when it comes to somebody talking to you about setting up a meetup group, right? I'm sure there's some kind of struggle that they're coming to you and saying, I got this mental block I can't get over. What is that usually?
The mental block, I don't know that it's mental. I think it's more tactic. The number one struggle that people have that, and we actually alluded to this before we even jumped on the show. You mentioned this. It's making sure that your real estate business is to a point where it doesn't have to be 100% automated without you, but it has to be to a point where it can be mostly run without your day-to-day operations. Because if you sit there, if it's mainly you're self-employed and you own a job and that's your real estate business, it's gonna be very difficult, if not impossible, to go out and start a meetup group, start another business. Because now you're going to be the operator in 2 businesses. And when you chase 2 rabbits, you're not going to catch any. So you really need to have that real estate business, maybe not necessarily automated, but it needs to be running pretty good. So your attention can be focused on the content creation, the coaching, the just setting up a meetup group, doing events, doing live events. That's a business and it takes time. So that's probably the number one thing. That's why the people that we choose as operators, they have to have that first piece in place, or else everything's going to come crumbling down.
Right. And I'm the first one to agree that, I mean, I'm in obviously the content creation space, and it is 2 entirely different businesses. And when they're both running simultaneously and they're both trying to pull at you, it can be, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that lately I've been a little crazy. So it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. So let's talk. Okay. So that kind of segues me into the conversation topic about finding balance in life. Um, we debated on whether or not we are going to talk about this at the beginning before we even came on here, but you posted something a while back in a forum about finding balance in your life. And I don't want to take an overview of that. I don't take a deep dive into it because I know there's some personal stuff going on, but a lot of people in this space they're chasing that rabbit, so to speak. And like you said, or chasing two rabbits, and they're focused on all the wrong things. And when we get into this, I remember I got into this because I wanted to build a better life for my family. That was my why. I wanted to spend more time with my kids and enjoy things. And I personally found that there's moments where I have something to do with the business that contradicts with something my kids may want me to do with them. And I had to stop and think, why am I even conflicted? The kids are the choice, right? But I've found times where I'm a little conflicted, and I've had to stop and go, okay, wait a minute. If you're getting into this so you can spend more time, then you need to some more time. So, can we do a high level overview of your post? Is that cool?
For sure.
Yeah. So, tell me a little about. Okay, you were on a mission in 2019, was it, to better yourself, right? So let's start there.
Yeah.
We good?
So I think you're referring to the post where I talked about that, like personal development, right?
Right.
Reading a bunch of
Right.
books about it. So in late 2018, so we're talking about 14 months ago from this point, as we're in February of 2020 right now, my wife came up to me and said the following: Brian, I do not like being married to you. And that was a huge punch to my gut, because everything you just got done saying, Don, everything. I'm like, first of all, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Like, everything I do is for you and the kids. It's not even a decision. Everything I do, the business I've built, the money we've made, everything that we've done to this point, I did it for you and for the kids. So what are you talking about? You don't like being married to me? I'm giving everything I have to you. Was like, that's great, Brian, but we don't have you. And so it was a really big punch to the gut. So I spent all of 2019. It was my goal, it was my mission to personally develop, cut back on literally, like, I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And I cut back. I literally I was working 20 and 30 hours a week. And I was reading. I was at home more. I was reading a ton of books. I read more books. By the way, I have a master's degree in literature. Okay. I read more books in 2019 than I'd ever read before in my entire life in 1 year. So just reading personal development, reading this stuff and getting better, and trying to be more focused on being a better husband and being more present. Maybe I confuse those things. I was trying to be more present and around more. I did travel more in 2019 than I'd ever traveled as well, but they were short trips, 2 and 3 day trips. Talked about it ahead of time, came right back, made sure I didn't miss anything, never missed anything big, ever. I missed my wife's birthday, but I didn't miss anything like huge. All the kids' functions, everything. I was there. And I was just personally developing to be a better person, creating more content, doing all this stuff. And it was amazing. I definitely grew more in 2019 than I grew in any year in my entire life. Did great. On the night of December the 12th, 2019, so about 2-3 months ago, me and my wife just kind of really went at it. We don't fight. I'm pretty easygoing. I feel like laid back, easygoing. She is quiet, more passive. We just don't fight, and we'll have like a real big fight maybe once every 3 or 4 years. It just doesn't happen. We just don't do that. Been married for 10 years, by the way. She said to me on that night, said, Brian, all you do is sit in your chair and read. That's all you do. So it's like the year before, she said, I don't like being married to you because you're not present. Well, I'm going to be more present. I'm going to make sure I'm around. I literally cut my hours in half. I'm around more. But now all I do is sit in my chair and I read. I'm like, yeah, I'm reading. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to be a better person, better husband. Again, I confuse those things. And she's like, well, you just sit over there and read business books. And I'm just like, what are you talking about, business books? All these books have like real life application, like relationship application, all this stuff in there. Yeah, it might be centered, like Think and Grow Rich might be a business kind of book, but it's really about mindset and about personal just growth and just being a better. So I'm like, we're having this argument, and she's like, Brian, I've never seen you one time. All these books that you read this year, I never saw one book that was a book on marriage, how to have a better marriage, how to be a better father. And it just really just kind of took me back. And that was like our last fight. She literally the next day, December 13th, she left, and she hasn't been back. And we're probably going to get a divorce. And it's very difficult. That's a very difficult pill for me to swallow, because again, everything I've ever done in my life, I did for her. everything. And we have two very little kids. Everything I ever did, since they've been born, I did it for them. Everything I did. And I think that maybe the takeaway here, and I made this post and had tons and tons of comments about people that reach out to me, private message me. Some of you that might be watching this or listening to this right now are asking, like, Brian, why are you even saying all this? Like, why are you even talking about all this? What does this even mean? It might even be awkward for some people to listen to this. But here's the key takeaway. And I hope that if anyone is listening to this or watching this right now, that you really take this. And this is the private message I was getting back after I made that post. It's like, wow, Brian, I thought I was doing all these things as well for our family, but now maybe I need to take a step back. Am I really doing this? And what I guess the biggest lesson I learned through all this is, as I look back now, not in the moment, but as I look back now, all of this was selfishness. It was 100% selfishness on my part. I was trying to get better. I wasn't trying to have our marriage be better, us be better. I wasn't trying to have my relationship with my children better. I was trying to make me better. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that can't be your focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my focus. My focus was, well, you know what, 2019, I'm going to be the best version of me I can be. Well, guess what? I focused on me the whole year. And how selfish was that? Looking back on that now, I was like, wow, I just couldn't see it. And, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe that God can do anything, and God can heal her heart. God can heal my heart, and he can heal our marriage. And I'm still believing for that. And because none of the big things that you would think when it comes to marriage happened, but big communication issues, big selfishness issues on my part. And that's the lesson. That's the takeaway. And I hope and I pray that there are people listening to this, watching this right now, that get that and take that, especially the men out there, that we're prone to do this. So I don't know if I answer your question. Hopefully we can kind of maybe dive into that a little bit more.
No, you did. And I think that's that you said exactly what needed to be said. I don't know if we need to hit it anymore. I just think it's an important topic to put out there because, again, there are people of all ages that listen to these podcasts that we put out, right? From, 18, 19-year-olds getting ready to start their life to people, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are looking to just, find better ways to make money. So I think it's important for all aspects of people out there to hear these messages. And, because getting rich isn't just about getting rich, right? It's not just about getting rich. It's about having a better life. And what is the point if all we're doing is working like a dog day in and day out, or we're not paying attention to the things that matter, the memories that are slipping by us because we're not there, right? And so I think that more and more people need to hear the reality behind, some of the mistakes that we make as business owners, because I make them every single day, and I think it's important. Personally, it makes me, knowing your story is one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, because if you're doing something, you're helping people change their life. What better person is there to help somebody change their life than somebody who made a mistake and realized this isn't how you do it, right?
And I get back to, I don't know if you know Sean McCloskey.
Right.
I've been around him for a long time. He was associated with Life and Air for a while, and he used to tell me when I was working, I'd work a couple of 100-hour weeks in a row, and he would question me, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do this forever. I'm just going to do it. It's hot right now. Real estate's hot right now. I'm making a lot of money. I need to do this. And he would say this: most people get into real estate for the freedom.
Right.
That's the number one. I coach brand new people. I know you coach as well, Don. Most people would say the main reason I'm getting into real estate is because I want freedom. I want financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is most people who do get into real estate never achieve freedom. They just make things super complicated.
Mm-hmm.
They create these businesses and these lives for themselves where they might be making a lot of money, but what are they giving up in exchange for that? And it just doesn't make any sense. And that's why Sean's mission, ever since I met him, I think 2016, his mission has been, I want to help entrepreneurs realize that it's not all about, like, the money will come, but like, you got to build your vision for your life first. What do you want your life to look like? And then build the business around what you want your life to look like. So I wish maybe I could have heard him say that in a different way. Maybe I thought I was good. Maybe there are a lot of people who are watching this are like, Brian, we're good. I'm good. I don't know. Are you? Have that conversation. Have that hard conversation with your wife.
Yeah. Have that conversation for sure. And take a hard look, like you said, at your business and your why and your whole purpose around it and what you were doing it for. I know that I've been guilty of going home at night and staying on my Instagram or Facebook and answering questions and stuff like that, thinking that I'm home. And I know I've also been guilty in my business, which is a whole other aspect of, well, it's running perfect and it's great and it's really easy right now and I'm bored. So let's make it bigger and let's make it harder.
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and that's another aspect. I think that we're always, somebody made a comment about, you make 50 grand and you go open a $30,000 call center and then you make this and you go open that. And it's like, when is enough enough? And that's the reason I want to have the conversation, because if we're going to teach people, right, we're going to help people become successful and make money. We got to help them, see the consequences of, not finding balance in their life. And I just think it's an important conversation. So I'm glad you shared it. I appreciate it very much. So, okay. So let's talk about, I don't know, is there anything that you want to, any advice you want to give somebody who's just getting started in real estate? I know that's not really where you're focused right now, but if somebody was just getting started today, what advice would you give them?
Well, I, I'm starting to reevaluate the massive imperfect action phrase that a lot of people use. Just go out there and just take action. Just go out there and take action. Take action. Well, I'm starting to see a lot of people get in big time trouble just going out there and taking action and just not really understanding the consequences. So take calculated action. Make sure that you're reading the right books, you're around the right people. If you are brand new to real estate, go to the meetup groups. Go to all of the meetup groups in your town. You're not gonna like all of them. Like it got to a point to where before I started mine here in Birmingham, I hated going to this one meetup group. I just didn't like it at all. It was a pitch fest every time you went. So I would go and I would network in the beginning. And then while the meeting's going on, I'm out in the hallway talking to people. And then when it's over, I'm networking again. So that's what it became for me. So if you have meetings that you don't like going to, maybe you don't like the organizer, whatever the reason is, go anyway and try to figure out how to network and talk to people. But networking is the name of the game. I had a coaching student one time tell me that I hate to network. And I was like, what are you talking about? You hate networking. I don't even know what you're talking about. And she said, Brian, I hate networking because I hate asking people for things. And I'm like, whoa, that's not what network is. You got networking all wrong. I think there are a lot of people who are out there that don't know how to network. So I actually made it a personal goal of mine to teach people how to network and just get out there and talk to people and just and here's the kind of the keys, Don, if you want to me just kind of give
Absolutely.
brand new people some keys to how to get started, how to get going. The best way to network, the best way to get going is to network. And the best way to network is to go into it with an attitude of giving. And even if you're brand new, you always have something to give. We all have a unique ability. We all have something to give. When I was getting started with my meetup group and I wanted some high level people to come to it, I offered them something of value that was valuable to them. That was my unique ability. And it had nothing to do with real estate. And so they end up coming. We had fair and equal exchange there. So figure out what your unique ability is and offer it. Your unique ability might be to be, anything. It might maybe a videographer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're a great photographer. Go and offer your services. Literally, just this happened within the last 6 months. Someone showed up and said, "Hey, I'll take pictures at your group for free. Maybe if you just maybe give me free membership and free this." Are you kidding me? That's a great exchange. I'd do that in a heartbeat. So what's your unique ability? How can you change that? Come into a networking event and meeting when you meet someone with a servant's heart. How can you serve? Okay. What's in it for them? What a value can you bring to them? And then my big one is be a connector. If you know how this person and this person, if they have a need and they have a need and they need to be met together, do that. Connect them without expecting anything in return. And they're going to see you as an authority figure and they're going to come back to you for all sorts of things. So those are the biggest ways I know how to network, but it all starts with going to live events. You have to go and be there.
I agree 100%. I want to piggyback on that because I'm always saying come from a position of service in any relationship that you're going into, that you're looking to work with somebody, come from a position of service. How can it be balanced? even negotiating with the contractors that we utilize in our business, we never try to just take. We try to find a way to create a balanced relationship with them, so that it's fair on both sides. We want fair on our side. We want them to feel like they're being treated well. So if you come into relationships from a position of service, they're going to go a long way. I've built over the past few years, built a lot of great friendships with people out there that are in this industry, just from reaching out and saying, how can I do something for you? How can I help you out? So it's huge advice. Not enough people listen to it, but it's huge advice.
And Don, I'll even take it a step further. A lot of the times we do ask that question, I'm here for you. Whatever you need, you make sure you come to me, or if is there anything I can do for you? I don't think that that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are too many people out there that respond, I'm good. Or maybe they don't even know. Maybe they don't even know what they need, but you can kind of see from afar what it is that they actually need.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can identify a need for them, because I think to say something kind of blanket or like that, it's like, okay, cool. Thank you. I don't really know what that is. But if you can come up with something, hey, you know what? I would love to take pictures at your group for you. I never would have thought about that as the organizer. I didn't even know you were a photographer.
Right.
So to say, whatever you need, come to me. Okay. I don't know how you can help me, but if you can figure out, you take the onus, put the onus on you. You figure out how you can help them and bring that to them and offer that to them. That is where the game gets changed big time.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice for sure. So, all right, cool. Tell everybody how to get a hold of you. How do they find you if they want to start an REI live in their neck of the woods?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. REIcoaches.com is my big thing that we're pushing right now. We're getting a bunch of coaches. Don, I think you're coming to our next one. It's in October.
Mm-hmm.
We put on this, we just did it for the first time in 2019, put on this event where we had some incredible real estate coaches at this event. Tom Kroll, Joe McCall. I mean, we had some absolute rock stars giving some incredible advice. Francis Ablola, who's the marketing director for the Tim Bratz brand and the Rafael Vargas brand, he was there talking about how they fill live events. So had some incredible people at this event. We're going to have an incredible event again coming up in October. If you want to come to that event or get hooked up with coaches or learn how to maybe start an REI Live, start a meetup group in your town, just go to reicoaches.com. You can see all how to get in contact with me there. So make sure you do that. Don, thank you so much for allowing me to share that.
Yeah, fantastic, man. I really appreciate you having you on. I couldn't get my words out there. Really appreciate having you on today, and I'm glad to have you as a guest. So thank you.